Have you been involved in an accident? ¿Fuiste lastimado en un accidente? If so, I invite you to give my friends Abogados a su Defensa a phone call right now. Te puedes comunicar con ellos ahora mismo 24/7 al 805-436-1227. You can reach them right now at 805-436-1227. Free consultations. Las consultas son gratis. If we don't win, you don't pay. Si no ganamos, no cobramos. Once again, that number is 805-436-1227. 805-436-1227. Llámale a los abogados a su defensa. Su experiencia marca la diferencia.
What's good? ¿Qué onda, familia? It's your boy Richard Linares, and we are here with you tonight recording our show, What's Good? And I got my homegirl with me,
Rachel.
Rosal.
Yes.
Mindful Ray on Instagram, where you can connect with her. And so she was one of my first guests.
Yes, the first one, actually.
The first.
The first.
Oh, she was the first. La primera. That's right. La primera lives forever, homegirl. So she was one of my first guests, and she is a part of a team of individuals that I have that come with me, therapists and life coaches. You know, a shout out to Teresa, a shout out to Patty, a shout out to also Heartistic, and I'm forgetting her, Yadira, my homegirl Yadira, and so anyone, Ada, all the individuals that have helped me with the mental health component of what I do. I am an advocate for mental health. I want to reduce the stigma of mental health. Yes. I think mental health is just as important as physical health and emotional health. And so we do this to be able to provide you a direct service, a direct connection to living a better life. We are in the year 2020, and you know, in the terms of eyes, 2020 is a clear vision. We want 2020 to be a clear life for you, a clear year for you, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And we're all on this journey.
We're all in it together.
We're all in it together. And so a lot of stuff is happening in our world today.
A lot.
A lot of things are happening right now. Right now, I went to Walmart, and I've seen the Sam's Club post, and I've seen the Costco post, but I just didn't think it was going to affect Walmart. I don't know why.
Yeah. It affected everyone.
Because you went to Target.
I went to Target, and my boyfriend John was going to get alcohol to clean so that he can clean something at home. Mm-hmm. And it was completely out. And we were surprised, but also at the same time not surprised.
It's crazy what's happening, and it's really, you know, what they have came out and said is that, you know, people are starting to say facts, because you got every headline, novel coronavirus. Yeah. There's nothing novel about this. It's a sickness. It's affecting people with weakened immune systems, or the people that are the most vulnerable. And so those are people that are chronically sick, or the elderly. Yes. Individuals that it's really targeting because they don't really have the defenses, just like anybody else. Yeah. You know, there's actually more deaths due to the flu. The flu, yeah, there is. Than the corona, but we get it. The news is really just and people are dying, so I don't want to be insensitive to the fact that, you know, people are being affected by this, because somebody might get affected by this that we might know, and then it'll be real for us. I don't want to be insensitive to that, but at the same time, you guys calm down.
Honestly, yeah, we don't want to be insensitive, but at the same time, I've been viewing it kind of just like another flu. And, you know, as usual, we should wash our hands and sanitize everything. So that should be normal for you. But I feel like because this coronavirus is out there, more people are freaking out. But we shouldn't be freaking out. We should just be preventative and cautious and smart and clean.
And the simple way to do that is, number one, wash your hands, which is what we should be doing on a regular basis. We discussed it a little bit before we went on the air about how I go to stores and restaurants, and sometimes the bigger places like stadiums or clubs, and people don't wash their hands.
Yeah, they don't, and it's gross. I don't know why.
So wash your hands. Just be clean. You know, please leave some toilet paper for the rest of us. My homegirl Yadira told me that I can get baby wipes, and I told her this is beyond baby wipes already. So I think the next stage, an option. It is an option. But I think the next phase for me would be paper towels. If we ain't got no toilet paper.
I know. Oh my gosh, I just realized that.
What?
That paper towel is gonna be next.
You're gonna have to get those sensitive ones, not like those hardcore ones. Who knows? Maybe you can get those brawny ones. In one wipe, you're all done. Nice and clean. So, changing the subject because we need to change the subject here. There's other stuff going on in our world today. Politically, in the county of Ventura, we have two individuals that. Where are you from originally?
Oxnard.
Oxnard.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. So we live in the city of Oxnard, and so we have Mayor Tim Flynn and Carmen Ramirez that are part of our city council, and they were the individuals. Carmen Ramirez was running first, and some other individuals are running also, like Jeff, and then there was another. I feel really, really bad because I'm forgetting. I don't know if it's Veronica or some other individual, but there was like 5 individuals, and so right now we are left we're like it's a negative thing, but we have 2 options that are going to be Ventura County Supervisor for the district that includes Oxnard, and it's now Mayor Tim Flynn and Mayor Pro Tem Carmen Ramirez. And so that's what's happening locally, but the sad thing is that, you know what? Only 15,000 people from the city of Oxnard voted in that race. 15,000 people. The city of Oxnard has over, well, I think 250,000 maybe.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Population, yeah, we're over 200,000, and if you're, and that's counting everyone who participated.
Yeah.
So we're at least at 250. Only 100. The 15,000 or less than that. Whatever the number is, it's a low number. Oxnard, you guys, we could do better.
We can do better. I can do better because I didn't vote.
Okay,
So
changing the subject.
Don't come at
But
me.
see,
I'll be honest, I just I feel like it's because no one really talks about it, the people that I personally know.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's why I'm not as aware about it. And also, I don't see too many people talking about it on Instagram, or from what I see.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
well,
yeah,
I'm going to
there's
be
not that much
inviting them.
awareness.
I'm going to invite.
Yeah.
I'm going to send out an invite to Tim Flynn, also to Carmen Ramirez, because they specifically, will be addressing the concerns in our area. And the questions that I have for them as individuals before we get into our subject tonight is just on a political level. The thing is that they've been running the city of Oxnard. You've seen the newspapers, you've seen the stories of what's going on with regards to everything in our city. I'm not blaming you guys, but the thing is, when these are the individuals that are not going to have a part in running the county, but because they're not the only, there's going to be actually a bunch of other supervisors working together. So, there's hope. But Tim Flynn, kudos to you. Carmen Ramirez, kudos to you. I'm inviting you guys to come and talk and share, like you just heard right now. Some individuals we're not informed, and so if I can help something in Oxnard, more awareness with regards to political stuff, because we can be the difference. We can make a difference. I put a post earlier. I think Oxnard. I'm not from Oxnard. People think I'm from Oxnard. I'm not from Oxnard. I've been in Oxnard for 10 years, but I am the biggest fan of this city. I came to the city for purposes of reaching the community, and I've been here for a long time, working in many social service areas, providing needs and meeting the needs of individuals that are low income or impoverished. And so I see so much potential.
Yeah.
And I really believe that there's going to be a lot of greater things that come out of Oxnard, but we just need to be informed, and we need to be able to advocate and help one another and things like that.
Yeah,
So
I agree. He's awesome. Seriously.
So with that said, you had put a post the other day on social media, and it inspired me to ask you to have the conversation about insecurities.
Yes.
As an individual who has struggled with my own insecurities and at times been insensitive to the insecurities of others, because sometimes we have these mindsets, and sometimes sometimes we don't realize we're offending people. I was telling your boo, your man, your thing over here, that sometimes I have a tendency, because because part of me just like blurt. Sometimes I'll realize after I've said something like that was very offensive.
Yeah.
Like someone's gonna see that and they're gonna say something, and then what I have to do is own it and be like, you know what, I blurt out too much, and I probably should use a little bit more self-control.
Yeah.
But then I would just be this robot, because sometimes some of the stuff is really funny.
Yeah.
But other times it can be hurtful, because my insecurities have to do with weight. They're rooted in being bullied and things like that as a child. And so and we talked about it, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, is, you're insecure. You might be insecure with regards to your weight also.
Yeah.
And I might be like, whatever, what, girl, you're a little bit swollen? Like, no, this is swollen. Like, you ain't swollen. If anything, you swole like this. And that might lead someone like you to never want to share at all what you're going through.
You're definitely, and that's where I was before, where I didn't really like to talk about it. So what he was referring to, I do struggle with body image. It's not as bad as before. Definitely not as bad. I feel like I like to say I overcame it because it's not as much anymore where I'm like feeling really down about it. But I didn't really talk about it because I was worried people were going to judge me that I wanted it for attention. But really, that's what was struggling inside.
And how many more individuals are there out there that we might think they got it all together, but for whatever reason in their mind, they have this low self-esteem or they're insecure in this area. But before we get any further into our conversation, we're going to give a shout out to William. These are bomb.
They're so good. This is my first time trying. Amazing. I want to get this. Like, I'm almost done with it. I mean, he is too.
We are.
And my boyfriend likes it too. He's been drinking it.
So shout out to William. William, thank you so much. This is from Dolce Vita Cafe. They are inside the Transit Center. We also have Dolce Vita Restaurant, which is in downtown Oxnard in Heritage Square. Shout out to Michelle and her hubby and the whole team over there. But this is the cafe. And the cafe, they have amazing sandwiches, amazing drinks. This is like a non-GMO, vegan, non-caffeinated alternative for individuals that like the lattes, but maybe can't drink the coffee. And I got it's made with oat milk, and then I have a shot of CBD. I asked for a shot of THC, but I guess that's not what you put in these things. William reminded me, so it has a shot of CBD, and so it just has all these just natural ways of helping individuals just deal with stuff. It's the end of the day.
Yeah, I want to go again.
I want
to go back.
You're going to go back.
I used to work at Starbucks, and this is so good.
No caps. So, but we love William. He's an amazing barista. Thank you so much for always sponsoring our drinks to get us started on the What's Good show. So that's that. But we are talking about insecurities today, and we want to be able to help you. We want to be able to encourage you. We want to be able to inspire someone. We want to be able to motivate somebody that maybe you were an insecure person, but for whatever reason or other, you've never shared it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's people out there that need to hear, you know, and one of the things about this platform is we are about reducing the negative stigma of mental health, and we are going to be talking about things that are going to help people. And make it to where it's a common conversation. It's not something that's taboo. It's not something that's secret. You know, I see a therapist every once in a while. Of course, I have individuals like you that I follow through social media that I'm constantly being uplifted and motivated by. So insecurities is our topic, and we're going to talk about really quick here. We're going to get here to our first little thing right here. Insecurities. Where do they come from, Coach?
So insecurities come from our own experiences. They come from our environment, you know, who we lived and surrounded ourselves with as we grew up. And then it also comes from society, what we see on TV, magazines, online, Instagram. And we start learning from that society that, oh, this is what's beautiful, or this is what looks good, this is what's smart, this is what's not smart. And we start to believe because other people think that's the norm. But I mean, like I said earlier when we were talking, you know, what is normal? Mm-hmm. We don't know. Nothing's normal. We're all weird. We're all different. And we're all human. We're all the same, you know? But yeah, it's just, it doesn't come from us. That's the one thing we need to remind ourselves. And we forget that because we end up believing that thought just because of our experience of being possibly bullied. Mm. Or just what we see online, like I was saying.
Little kids, you know, we see children, you know, we see adults, you know, that are constantly repeating these patterns because of what's taking place as a little kid. You know, we have organizations like First Five, you know, that pretty much have targeted that helping families with children for the first 5 years of their life, because the importance of everything that takes place in those first 5 years, the way that they think, the way that they react.
They react, their behaviors, everything. It'll affect them for the rest of their lives. And that's why those who end up having possibly like brain injuries just because of, you know, like all the negative stressors that actually impacted them, it's all came from when they were a child. And some people view these people as, oh, they just went crazy, or maybe they just did drugs or something like that. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's because of the way their brain developed.
So this is where they come from. They come from individuals that maybe you don't know where your insecurities have come from. You know, maybe you don't realize it. Maybe no one's ever told you.
Yeah.
You know, and so these are things that possibly can be rooted in your childhood.
Yeah.
It also can be rooted in maybe a toxic relationship that you were in.
Yep.
You know,
Definitely.
maybe you were in a relationship with an individual and all they did is belittle you.
Yeah.
And bully you and make you, maybe they were, whether it was a male or whether it was a female, you know, whether it was same sex, whatever relationship it was, you know, one of you was the individual that's probably getting the negative part of this relationship, but maybe someone who was extremely insensitive or even a bully in the relationship.
Yeah.
A lot of relationships that are domestic violence, you have the power and control wheel. You have the people that, you know, they want power and they want control and they'll do it at all costs.
Yeah.
And individuals that sometimes that are codependent will link up with this individual and then it turns into a very toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Which breeds this lifestyle to get them to this place where maybe they're insecure. And they could probably be the most beautiful woman out there or the most gorgeous man out there. Yep. But because this relationship lasted for such a long time, they
started thinking the way that the other person was telling them to think in a way. And I'll be honest, that happened to me. I mean, before my amazing boyfriend, I was with someone in the past who was emotionally abusive. And when I got with John, he was very surprised the way that I thought of myself and like how much I would put myself down. And that wasn't coming from me though. Those were coming from my past.
Wow.
Yeah. And it affected me like crazy. And till this day, I'm still working on things because I'm not perfect, but because I'm working on myself, I definitely do not feel as insecure as before.
And that's what we want to inspire with you today that are watching is that if you're struggling with insecurities, that because a lot of times, sometimes what we end up doing is we end up trying to do these quick fixes.
Yes.
You know,
quick fixes don't do anything.
They don't, because anybody know, like if you don't deal with something at the root of the problem, then you're just the weeds are going to still come. Yep. You know, whatever seed is there is still going to give birth. There's going to be water. There's going to be a circumstance, a situation, or something is going to happen. It's going to water that, nourish it, and it's going to come right back up again.
Yep.
And that's why we've got to deal with the root. And the root might be childhood trauma, relational trauma. You know, it might be a workplace trauma. You know,
maybe it can be from anywhere, literally anywhere. And as long as if there's an emotion that's really strong that attaches with it, you're never going to forget that experience, and it can affect you for years and years.
And what we want to do is we want it to not affect you anymore for years and years. We're in the year 2020. It's a year where we want to see clear. I mean, 2020, that's what they tell you with regards to your vision. We want to feel clear. We want to think clear. You know, we want everything to be clear, not just for ourselves, but also for you. Yeah. Because that's what we're all about. And so the second thing that we have here with regards to the subject of insecurity is, why do insecurities continue to exist, Coach?
So the reason is because, like I was mentioning, how that emotion sticks with the thought. So because it's so powerful, we constantly think of it over and over again. So for example, when I was younger, I was bullied for not having curves. And it was these guys, we were like 11, 12 years old, and they were saying like, oh, she's like a flat wall. I was 11, 12 years old. I'm now 25 years old. Do you see like how that actually impacted me at that age and how much it hurt me? And so that is why they stick with us. It's because we constantly think of it like, okay, why do they think that of me? Like, is that true? And the more we think about it, we start to believe that thought, and then that thought continues over and over, and it gets worse. And if you don't work on it or really know where it came from, you're going to have that same thought 20 years later. Like me. I mean, I don't think like that anymore. Yeah. But I still have that memory because of how much it impacted me.
Yeah. And because of social media and because of media in general, I mean, how many other little girls are out there, now at such a young age, and boys too.
Very young age.
At a very young age, there's this pressure on them to wear makeup, to look good.
Some of the 13-year-olds, I'm like, I do not look like that. And they can do better makeup than me.
And she look 18 already, but she only 13.
Yeah.
It's
and
real.
They're growing up so fast, and it makes me sad at times. But I know it's also because of the impact of social media.
So why does it, so those are one of the reasons, so like we had said here, the second question was, why do they continue to exist?
Yeah, that's mainly why. It's because our brain is so addicted to that thought. And we don't, as people, we don't think of that like, oh, it's not an addiction. It actually is. And we don't see that. Just like anyone who's addicted to drugs, they don't think that they're addicted to it. They think it's normal. Yeah. And so us thinking negatively all the time, that's a habit and it's normal for us. And we just continue. And sometimes we don't realize that we're doing that until someone actually points it out to us. Like, maybe your friend, like, why are you so negative? Like, why are you being so hard on yourself? Like, so, they say you should be your best friend when you really should. Yeah. You would never tell your friend, like, hey, you look like crap. You would say it to yourself, but you wouldn't say it to a friend.
You might say it to a friend.
Maybe. If you want to be honest with them and they need to get themselves together. But you wouldn't actually, like, be mean about it, like, unless you wanted to help them or something.
What you just said with regards to addiction makes it so real, Coach. The fact that, because we look at a drug addict, an alcoholic, we might even have that person in our family, and you were sitting there shaming them for their addiction, not realizing that you possibly have your own addiction.
Yeah.
Someone told me a couple of days ago, we were having this conversation, and it got really negative, and it got really, like, it was really bad. Not dirty, but it got hurtful. Because when you get offended, you get defensive. And when you get defensive, you counterattack.
Yep.
And so,
say things you don't mean.
Those are the things that I learned with regards to co-custody parenting, the things that I would teach some of the clients that would come in. So, like, it was happening so quick, and then they ended the moment in the comment with this: hurt people, Richard. And I was like, and I got so upset. But the thing is that it's so easy for us to judge other people, but then when someone tells us something, it's really hard to receive. And I think
it can be,
addiction is a key word right there, because some of you, the reason why insecurity still exists in your life is because you are addicted. You are addicted to the negative thoughts. You're addicted probably to the negative influences. You're probably addicted to the negative kind of friends.
Yep.
You are
who you surround yourself with.
Yep, your mama used to always tell you. My mom used to always tell me, and it's, it ends up being true.
Yeah, it is true.
It ends up being true, and you can be a healthy person and surround yourself with negative people if you're not going to get drug in. Because maybe they need someone to give them some rescue. But the reason why they continue to exist is we have an addiction. And in order to overcome an addiction, that you either have to go to, for a person that's a drug addict or alcoholic or whatever, AA, steps, counseling, church, rehab, you have to do some work.
You got to do the work or nothing's going to change.
So if you're insecure and it still existed and it's continually happening to you, one of my pastor friends used to tell me, Richard, if you want something different in your life, you have to do something different.
Yep.
The definition of insanity.
You got to do something different or nothing's going to change.
It's going to be the same.
It's going to be the same.
We want to help you. We want this to no longer exist, not only in our lives, but we want it to stop existing in your life. And that's why we're here. And that's why I'm so grateful for you being here with me, Coach. The third thing, Coach, we got here is how can we overcome them to gain the confidence that we need? How can we overcome these insecurities? What practical steps can I take that, or maybe you have taken, that we can share with our audience to be able to help them overcome and live a life where they are secure and confident?
All right. So one thing I do want to mention is that I'm not perfect, and the steps I'm going to share with you, like, sometimes I even forget to do them. I struggle with them. Sometimes John will be like, hey, you're a coach. This is what you're going to be doing with your clients too. So you got to remember that. I'm like, oh, you're right. So just remember that I'm human too. And so I don't always do this. But the first step you're going to take is, let's say you're at home, you're feeling really depressed or like really down of like how you look possibly, or just something you're really insecure about. And in that moment, just stop yourself for a moment, ask yourself, where did this thought come from today? Like, why did I all of a sudden start thinking about this? Sometimes it's because we saw someone on Instagram or we're comparing. Usually it's because we're comparing ourselves, right? And so really questioning yourself, that's the most important thing. Question yourself. We don't do that often, like, where did this thought come from?
That's so good.
Yeah,
that's so good.
That's like the biggest thing I always have my clients ask, especially when they're having anxiety or they're feeling insecure. So ask yourself that. And then ask yourself, did this thought originally come from me? Is it really like true? And sometimes you might believe it's true at the time because this belief and this thought has been there for so long.
Irrational beliefs,
exactly. So if you're in that moment where you really do believe it, tell yourself, well, I am open to believing something bigger than this. I am open into believing that I am worthy and that I am confident. and that this thought really didn't originate from me. Another question you can ask yourself is, how would I feel if this thought didn't exist? You obviously would not be sad right now, you know? And another thing is, you know, is it worth it feeling this way? Is it worth making myself feel worse already? Am I going to just keep putting myself down? And the more you question yourself, the more you can kind of see your energy shift. And if it's specifically where you're insecure about, you know, your how you look, what I like to do is count my blessings. You know, I have 2 legs, I have 2 arms, I have 10 fingers, I have 10 toes. You know, this body gets me up every morning. It gets me to work from point A to B. And the more you start counting your blessings and what you're grateful for, you're like, you know what? It doesn't even matter like how I look. You know, I'm me, I'm still beautiful. And sometimes that, you know, it's still going to be hard.
Yeah.
But you have to train yourself to feel better, to choose to be happy, to choose to feel better. Because if you don't, you're just going to continue feeling like crap.
Yeah.
And there's no point.
Yep.
You know, you have a choice, and people will find that difficult to believe, but you really do have the choice. You have to start training your brain to choose good feelings.
Yeah. I mean, and we made the joke when I first met you with regards to we don't achieve the bodies that you and your partner have by just showing up at the gym one day.
Yeah, just like the gym.
Yeah.
It takes work, right?
Yeah.
Well, so does your brain. So if you're thinking a certain way for so long, or if you're eating a certain way for so long, and you don't make that change, nothing's gonna change, like we were saying.
It's gonna stay the same. And we want to help you so that things don't stay the same, so that things do change.
Yeah.
And so any other tips or advice that are practical? You've given us some really, really good stuff with regards to overcoming insecurities and not staying there. Anything else that you have that comes to mind?
Daily mantras.
Okay.
Or daily affirmations specifically. I write my own mantras. Mantra meaning like kind of something that's going to empower me. So affirmations, you can say like, I am strong, I am beautiful. Writing it down too is really powerful. Or even when you're struggling in that moment, write those questions down and then journal about like what's going on. And sometimes you'll just keep writing and you'll realize like, wow, this is really how I feel. And then it'll kind of wake you up and realize too that like if you read it later on, another day that you're feeling down, it'll remind you, okay, these thoughts didn't come from me.
Yeah.
And affirmations are great because you're specifically saying, I am. And that triggers something in the brain because your brain is like, okay, yeah, I am this. But when you're being negative, like, oh, I am a horrible person, I am really like fat, or I'm too skinny, or I'm not enough, then your brain is going to literally believe that.
And my brain is literally believing right now that I just dripped all over myself. So I'm insecure because now my shirt's wet.
It's okay. I don't even know where it went. You wiped it off.
we got wet over here too.
I
earlier.
spill on his table here.
But see, it's all good. So we're all wet up in here. Oh my God. And see, that's where I don't use my filter. And so that sometimes it's in those moments that I'll be like, oh my, I've epically messed up sometimes in here. And I've said something. Oh my God, the other day one of my episodes with Teresa, I was epically failing with some of the things that I was saying. And Denise was over there. And shout out to Denise and Jose. They're in Hawaii right now, living their secure life over there.
He's just jealous.
I am a little jelly. You
deserve it.
Yes, you do. You both deserve that. And so much more. Thank you guys so much. And shout out to them. But that's another great topic to talk about, jealousy.
Oh, that is. Maybe that'll be our next one.
Maybe it'll be. You got to stay tuned, guys. You got to stay tuned. We might talk about the jealousy conversation. And so, okay, Ray. So here we go. We got some contact information for you here. Let's see here. You can go ahead and tell them while I go ahead and find it here for us.
Yeah, of course. So on Instagram, I do have my Instagram handle is mindful.rae, Ray. And I do have a link. When you click the link, the first one is going to you're going to see, it's going to say one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested, it's just a form you fill out. It's nothing where you're going to commit to anything. It's so that you can tell me, what you want to work on with me specifically before we get on a Zoom call. That's kind of how I do it every time. It's like an introductory call. We get to know each other and see if we're a perfect fit. And then the second link is my YouTube channel. It's Ray and Sherry. I share with my best friend, RAE, the letter N, and then SHARI. And the third one's actually our first interview together. And then the last one is with the Silly Panda Media. So you can definitely check that link. It's in my bio on my Instagram.
So that's the best way to be able to connect with you. And so this is your second time meeting her. I've met her a couple of times already. We have a couple of things coming up, right? We want to give a shout out to Christina Brophy.
Yeah, the launch, right? Is that what you're talking about?
The next networking thing
Yeah,
they got going at Circle Hub in Ventura, right?
Yes, I think so. I just know it's in Ventura.
Circle Hub in Ventura, they're going to be hosting, actually Christina's offices are now there.
Yeah,
and so they're going to
proud
have
of her.
a great networking opportunity. They're really highlighting their services over there. They got like conference rooms and it's really fancy and it's really fancy. They put in a lot of money in that place.
It looks really nice from what I saw on Instagram.
So we're going to be there, and so the date of that is going to be in March. I might throw up that on here in a little bit. I might put it like right here, actually right now. So I want to encourage you guys to go there because it was that thing. When I say thing, because there's just things that happened in my life, but that thing was a moment that helped me step out of my own personal rut.
Oh, that's awesome.
I struggled with depression, you know, and I had found myself with like no sense of purpose. I had allowed some personal failures and just some personal things that I was going through to get the best of me, and I just wasn't motivated enough to do something. And so, like, one of the things that I've learned to become more secure in is the fact that I have a voice. And I have a charisma, and I have a personality. That's all gifts from God. But for whatever reason or another, I allowed the negative things, childhood traumas, relational friendship things that have took place to let me stay in this place of insecurity. And it was because of that event, that specific event.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Where I heard individuals, the panel that was there, hearing from Rico, Jay, Sky, Yadet was up there. There was a series
There's a good amount of them up there.
There was a good amount of individuals up there, and it was because of that I was like, you know what, we're starting my YouTube show.
That is so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's what we're starting a YouTube show.
You gotta go. You don't know who you might feel impacted. It's on March 26th, so we'll be there.
March 26th, we'll be there.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, clearly you overcame. See, he overcame his insecurities.
And now
look at him now.
We're in season what? Season no, wait, not season 9.
You mean episode 9?
Episode 9. We're in episode number 9, season 1 here. We're about to finish season number 1 because we're going on to season number 2 starting in April.
That is so crazy.
Super exciting. So I want to thank you so much for being here with us. I want to thank your boyfriend, your amazing boyfriend, for helping us back there, filling in for Silly Pandemia, helping us arrange the camera and take some shots, you know, some of that B-roll stuff. But until next time.
Until next time, thank you so much for having me. I love being here. And I'm ready to come back again.
Yay! So with this, and I'm going to go ahead and go out to this promo from one of our sponsors, which is Abogados a su Defensa. He is my friend, Attorney Hector Morache. If you find yourself in a personal injury where you have received, if you've been injured in an accident, automobile accident, and you need some support and you need some representation, you can hit them up. Also, if you have an immigration situation, a family member or a loved one, and maybe you have some immigration questions, you can hit them up also. And unfortunately, if you got in trouble with the law, you can also hit him up because he does criminal defense cases also. Because a lot of times when you're left with a public defender, you don't really get that much advocacy. Some of them are really good, but sometimes you just if you want something done, unfortunately, you sometimes have to invest in an attorney. Ray, Shal, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Have you been involved in an accident? ¿Fuiste lastimado en un accidente? If so, I invite you to give my friends Abogados a su Defensa a phone call right now. Te puedes comunicar con ellos ahora mismo 24/7 al 805-436-1227. You can reach them right now at 805-436-1227. Free consultations. Las consultas son gratis. If we don't win, you don't pay. Si no ganamos, no cobramos. Once again, that number is 805-436-1227. 805-436-1227. Llámale a los Abogados a su Defensa. Su experiencia marca la diferencia.